So what's the dream? What are you working towards with all of this?
I'm working towards annual turnover of 100 million plus. And it's not as hard as it sounds.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Chats. So for those of you who have been here before, you know that this is a conversation where I get to interview another business owner and we get to talk about all the things life and business and what has brought us to this point. Today, I am joined by Lewis Bernard. Bernard, where's your focus on your surname? How you pronounce that?
Louis Bernard.
Bernard. You never know whether people want to say Bernard or Bernard. Anyway, the amazing Lewis from AML Glass. So Lewis and I met sometime last year at a training event. Yeah. And have shared lots of laughs in between, lots of interesting conversations. But Lewis, what I'd love for you to do, please, is introduce yourself to the people who are listening and let them know who you are and what you do.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. As you said, my name is Louis Bernard, and I own the company AML Glass, which we are a glazing business based in construction, both residential and commercial. And we specialize in balustrades and shower screens, both internal and external. And a little bit about myself is I started this business just over a decade ago now, and it's something that I fell into and grew to love and to understand and become a master at it, which I'm still working on. There's always room for growth and improvement. And now I decided to share a little bit of that for everyone to, including myself. Me watching this back could also give me some insights into how I think and how things work and how I can improve. So yeah,
Yeah. So had you been working as a glazier for other people and then decided to start your own business? How did the business actually originate?
I started learning the old school way. I learned off somebody who knew the trade already, and we worked out a deal where I would learn for free and I would do jobs on the side to earn a little bit of money. And that's how I grew my knowledge and my experience in the trade. And after about 12 months, started to get more jobs and more experience and more knowledge, which then kept growing to what we are now.
Yeah. What is it that prompted you to choose to go out on your own as opposed to either working with a business partner or staying within someone else's business?
I believe that's got a lot of to do with me. Personally, I've had numerous jobs over the years, and I've always pushed to learn and understand and do more. I was always promoted within a very short amount of time. I think the quickest I got promoted once was, I think, 2 months. There were people in the job for decades didn't really like me because I started to climb up the ladder very quickly. And eventually, because I was very performance based against myself, I was never about how can I be better than anyone else. I was always about beating my own achievements within the business. Whether it was if I had to finish refurbishing a machine within a certain amount of time, if I could do it in 5 hours, I'd work out a way to do it in 4 hours and then 3 hours and just keep pushing that way. And eventually I became bored and I basically got sick of working for people and giving them all that performance and myself. I figured that I'd be a lot better off if I could do it for myself.
Yep. And so what does that look like for you now, given that your business is 10 years old-ish? Have you got a team? What does it look like now in terms of what you've been able to build?
Yes, we have a team and we also use subcontractors.
Mhm.
And what it means now is me finding ways and benefiting, same with the courses that we've done together, which is a lot of them now.
Hmm.
And I've taken a lot of that from that, a lot of growth and a lot of different perspectives because the way I see myself for a long time was I was street educated. I worked things out on the fly and learnt from mistakes, usually in the form of dollars because they are expensive. And that led me to then after I think 3 or 4 years ago, from memory, I started a master's in business administration. I started seeing the value in being educated in a way where I could apply the knowledge that I've learned in a more structured manner with company culture, structure, growth, HR, dealing with staff, and in that sense, and then to take it to another level with the programs that we've been completing, it's been more personal. So they're both gelled together,
Yeah.
personally and in a business sense, where now I'm a lot more at ease in being able to push the business forward. To put it plainly, I'd say going from panic mode, which is every day trying to put out fires, to
Yeah.
now having an overlook of everything and stepping back and saying, okay, this needs to happen for that needs to happen and so forth. So a lot more structured to how I used to operate.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it's interesting, isn't it? The way like some of the stuff that you and I have done together, it certainly helped me to have a better understanding of who I am as a human being. And then because of that, I can be a better business owner and a better everything. But it's helped me to design a better business because it's then our businesses reflect who we are as human beings, don't they? Yeah. Yeah. Why glazing? Why that space?
The simple answer, without sounding too arrogant, is I've worked in a lot of different fields, industries. I've worked in a poultry farm. I was a manager there. I worked for Coca-Cola. I've worked as a truck driver. I've worked in factories, printing press. And this is trying not to sound arrogant part. It's just how I do things and I operate is it doesn't matter what I do. I know I can do it and I can do it very well
Mhm.
once. And that's what all those previous industries taught me. Every job I've went to, didn't matter what sector it was in, once I learned it, and I've been very fortunate that one of my biggest gifts is to be very adaptable and I can learn very quickly and think of my fate. And I've been able to master those industries in a very short amount of time. And when I say master, I mean being able to do it unsupervised, being able to do it at a very high level. And should I have spent any more time in those industries, I would have created something a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of glazing, it's not a specific answer. It's just the next thing that I found myself into by coincidence or by fate, if we call it that. And it is also what brought us together, really.
Yep.
That, yeah, so everything happens for a reason. So having that, being in that space in comparison to what I used to be in comparison to the space I used to be in, I don't think would have brought me to having known yourself and having spent so much time together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? The way you make a decision now and it influences so many things. Yeah. That obviously, yeah. I do love being able to look back and then go, oh, that decision led to this one, that led to this, that led to this. And you're like, put all those dots together.
You know, what's funny is it's exactly what you just said. I was born in Mauritius, came to Australia at a very young age, and if you would have asked me when I was a kid where I would be now, if I'd be talking to you right now, in the way that we speak to each other and what we've learned and grown from,
Yeah.
I'd say it would never happen.
Mm.
And especially the disparity between being in another country and being born in a different culture, speaking a different language, to now having gone little zigzags along the way, and now sitting here with you and talking about business and growth and personal achievements and learnings and God knows what else in between. It's quite incredible.
Mhm.
It's quite incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to agree with that because, and honestly, I grew up as a little country kid on a cattle property here in Queensland. Never anticipated that I would be doing what I'm doing either. Like and I certainly I've moved 5 hours drive from where I grew up. Is where I currently live, as opposed to where you've come around halfway around the world. But still, like there's elements of that in me as well, in terms of where I am now, where I came from, where I am now, and also where I know that I'm headed. It's the sort of thing that you would never have predicted if you'd seen me when I was younger and as a kid. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how did you find, because I can relate to you in terms of small town girl. I
Yeah.
lived in country Victoria for a while, and the difference between a small country town to the city is night and day. In saying that, I absolutely loved it. Some of the best years of my life. It's just the air, the freedom, the space,
Yeah.
and just all the activities that we don't get to do quite as much here without having to
Yeah.
take a long trip to get there.
Yeah. I didn't even grow up in a country town. I grew up on a cattle property.
Yeah.
It was, the closest town was an hour from home across, at the time when I was a kid in primary school, you had to drive for 45 minutes before you hit the bitumen. There's plenty of people who were a lot more remote than I was. It's not that we were that far away. But when I look at where I grew up versus other kids that I went to boarding school with, it was only an hour. Some of them were 5 and 6 hours drive to town. So it's degrees, right? But if you're used to a little country town or like growing up in the city, to be an hour before you even get to a town is a little bit different. Having said that, the level of freedom, I could drive a manual vehicle by the time I was 8. Yeah, by the time I actually got my license, I was already driving the tractor, the dozer, the truck at home on our place. And that was really normal, right? Nothing about what I did was unusual as a country kid. It's just different to what people who live in the city, how they grew up. I also had no idea how to catch a train or a bus. I had to learn that as an adult. Like it scared the bejesus out of me when I first moved to Brisbane and had to learn how to do that. So it's just a different skill set that you develop because of the different experiences, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I will say, it's been about 20 years since I've been on a horse. I do really miss horse riding.
Yeah.
I do. I would like to get back to that part of it. But the life is, and I could do that with where I live now. I don't focus on that. Because yeah, there's pros and cons to all of it, right? There's a skill set that you learn as a kid growing. Like, how old were you when you came across from Mauritius?
Early teens.
Yeah, really. So you'd have lots of like solid memories of your time there as well.
Oh yeah, I remember everything vividly. I was
Yeah.
actually speaking to a friend of mine yesterday. Actually, Rav, because he grew up in South Africa, which is not
Hmm.
far from where I am. And I was just reminiscing about the buses that we used to take, where
Hmm.
old steel buses, it had a little wire from the back to the front that you'd pull, and it trigger a little light at the front to say stop, and it'd
Yep.
come with a big bulky ticket machine that they'd have to wind up to get the
Yep.
ticket out, and have the little coin dispensers and so forth. No aircon, windows down,
Yep.
just safari style. It
Yep.
sounds not quite, but that's what it was. The bus stops were dirt roads, gravel, and we used to go drive around, and there'd be sugarcane plantations. We'd pull over with a machete, cut a few down, and all the kids in the back just suckling on them. Yeah, just vivid, very vivid memories and experiences that were to bring it back to balustrading. The house that I lived in Mauritius in the 90s, we were in the third story, and the third story had a little opening where it'd go on the roof of a second story house.
Yep.
So that was about I'd like to say maybe 100 square meters worth of flat roof with no balustrade, straight drop. So you can imagine a young Lewis running around, jumping on trees, grabbing fruits and yelling and playing around and doing whatnot. That was the norm. No balustrade.
Yeah.
You know, what we do now is more than just making money. It is providing safety and a
Mm.
design element to your property, and which is fantastic. Just a contrast from what it used to be like. And funnily enough, in Mauritius, it's still not a requirement.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So you still have my grandmother's home was a so how it works still works in some places is the grandparents or the great grandparents would have a property and
Mm.
then would build up.
Oh,
So
okay.
the son would have the first, and then another son would have the second and fourth, and it goes as high as they can afford. And my grandmother's house is currently, I believe, 4 stories, and there's a concrete stair in the middle of the house that connects all the units together
Yeah.
with no doors, so it's all open, no balustrade. And as a kid, we used to jump from first story from flight of stair to flight of stair with no security, no safety barrier at all.
Oh, the mum in me worries about
I'm
that.
telling you, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's now, as a parent, I sit here and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, look at a cliff, and I'm like, hey, come here.
Hmm.
Yeah. What are you doing looking at this? Don't look at that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy how there's so many stories that we could go into. This one being one of the main ones. Sometimes I reflect and I think to myself, how did I make it to now alive?
Mm. Mm.
We're playing with death.
Yeah.
On the balconies, we used to walk on the edge of the balconies and just look down and throw stones at trees and whatnot. Playing in my uncle, my dad's second brother, had a big property in Beaubassin, which is the southwest of Mauritius, just under just classified as south. It's technically in the middle, but we'll call it southwest. And there used to be a property with an abandoned house there.
Mm.
And that used to be our playground every day after school, or sorry, during school holidays. I'd go over there and play around with my cousin. We were like brothers, and that's what we did, playing in rubbles.
Yeah.
And yeah, so somehow we made it.
Mm. It's fascinating, isn't it, that when you look back at the sorts of things that you did as a kid, and then like to look back on that stuff, but with the eyes of a parent. Yeah, it's a very different perspective because I know as a kid I felt like I was bulletproof and it's fine, mum, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Now I know what she was worried about.
Now we can relate. Now we can relate.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me, with the work that you get to do now with AML Glass, what is it that you love the most with what you get to do?
I love the challenge of every aspect of a business. I got to be careful with my words here. I don't want to call it self-afflicting punishment. It's I enjoy being intellectually stimulated
Yep.
and love challenges. Actually, see, I really have to be careful with my words there. I I don't particularly love challenges. I love getting through them. It's the first and foremost, I've always prided myself into knowing every aspect of the business. In saying that, I want to be able to call out the BS, right?
Yep.
If someone tells me this happened because of this, I'm now at a stage where I don't even have to look at it. Just based on what I'm told, I know whether it's true or false.
Yeah.
And that's being from being able to install everything and know how it works, know how to measure, know the measurements, know the falls, different types of materials, bathroom, homes, units, whichever it may be. And I particularly quite like that. And I respect a lot of people who have the same knowledge, the same ability in their industry. Real, for example. I really respect her in a way where when we speak about business, if I talk about marketing, for example, I only have to say a few sentences and she'd pinpoint that's a challenge there, tweak this over here, do that over there,
Yeah.
and that should fix it. So I'm the same. I'll get a phone call, someone explaining to me something about water angles, for example, and I'll know exactly because I've been through the
Yeah.
works of having all those challenges. I know exactly how to deal with them.
Yeah.
And it's also dealing with people, which I used to struggle with. I was very black and white, and the world doesn't operate in black and white. There's a bit of gray there somewhere.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
no one gave me the memo. And
You got it now. It's okay.
yeah, there's a lot of gray, especially in communication, being able to communicate clearly what I'd like or what someone else would like, and asking clarifying questions and being able to work together. I think, that's one of my biggest learnings in business is I used to be in a mindset of it has to be one or the other, and
Yep.
not necessarily. It's about what's the outcome because we both want the same outcome,
Mhm.
and how do we work together to get that outcome? That
Yeah.
removes ego, that removes having to be right, that removes having to have one up or be smarter or whatever it may be. And that's a big one, especially dealing with private clients
Mm.
or builders, developers, and so forth. We're all in there to have the same outcome.
Yep.
We both want to have a finished product that's a win-win situation instead of focusing on the negative, which I've found a lot of people do. It's
Yep.
very easy to do.
Yeah.
Fall in that category myself sometimes, and I'm catch myself out, fish myself out of it, and being able to work together because it's objective, right? It's not about me against Terry. It's about we both want to do a wonderful podcast, live chat. How are we going to make that happen together?
Yeah.
And also now, which I'm focusing on, is growing exponentially. So now my new pet project at the moment is building, built slash building slash improving a personal CRM that is tailor-made exactly for what we do and
Mhm.
exactly for our clients. And I must admit, I got to take my hat off to myself. It's something.
Yeah.
It's something. And so now I'm able to have a HQ of information that can be that can rival any 500 company, if not better.
Hmm.
And that came from the experience of all these years. Unless I had a mentor at my side who would be able to teach me through this, what I've built and continue to build, it's not something that can be taught.
Yeah.
It's not something that can be done out of thin air. It has to be either taught or experienced.
Yeah.
And I've managed to I'm up to I believe, this version 19 of a finished product. I've still got a few versions to go because I'm not perfect, right? I'm only human. And as I'm building it, I'm finding more and more improvements.
Yeah.
I'm going to through the steps. First step is intake, a whole customer journey. And I've got alerts in there, I've got reminders in there, automatic messages, emails, and that's nothing new. In saying that, I've looked at a lot of CRMs that are available in subscription base. They just always fall short of something that I need.
Yeah.
And without being too much of a perfectionist, it always seems to be the thing that I really need the most that they can't do. And I decided to take on the challenge. This is a self self-inflicted challenge loving side
Yeah.
comes in of creating my own, and which I believe is fantastic and it's going to be amazing, which also has commercial capabilities. So that's something else that I can look at
Yeah.
in the future. Right now, I want to focus on the growth of the company to go even bigger and to meet our targets and our goals and exceed them. I'm very driven to do that, and I'm very passionate about doing so. And yeah, so from the beginning to now, right now, that's who I am. I'm in a. Do you have you watched Iron Man,
No,
the first one?
I'm not much of a movie buff.
So basically, actually, no, not the first one. I think it's the third one or the second one. One of them where Iron Man goes into hardware mode because he's trying to find a new element because the one that he had in internally the white light that's got in his chest was killing him.
Okay.
He had to find a new element, and long story short, he found it and he had to create it. So he broke down his house to go into hardware mode and went to work into doing what he needed to do. So right now, that's similar to what I'm doing. So I've gone
Yeah.
into mode and really because to be able to grow, you need to have the capacity and also the tools and the hardware to do. You
Mm.
can't just otherwise it doesn't match up. You'll grow, but if you don't have the proper systems and procedures in place to be able to take that growth, you're just going to go all over the place and it just doesn't work. And yeah, so that's what I'm working on now.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. So, in amongst all of this stuff, we started that interesting little part of the conversation around what is it that you love, but what is it that you don't love or dislike about what you get to do now? It's got to be something in there.
What I dislike about what I do now is it's a lot of responsibility. Doesn't matter what it is, I don't have a scapegoat like most people prefer to have. I hear excuses and blame and justifications on a daily basis. And that could be two factors. Could be the work that we've been doing is maybe more aware of it, and also the fact that some people just do not want responsibility or accountability. They run from it. Some
Yeah.
people. And I don't have that luxury because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether it's if someone else got a poor performance, what haven't I done to be able to give them the tools and the ability or capacity to be able to perform the way I need them to perform? I can't go, oh, they're not cutting it or
Yeah.
the right suit or I'll try someone else. And you can keep, and I've seen in the industry, especially in the construction industry, there's a very high rotation of staff, very high,
Yeah.
whether it's about money or responsibility or work and so forth. I always see, and everybody sort of rotates within a few companies, if not more, 5 or 6 companies. And we might do a job for a company, and 6 months down the track, do a job for another company, and the same liaison.
Same stuff.
On, and then 6 months later, they've gone back, and
Yeah.
it's what's going on here? Okay, for whatever reason, where and that's from my personal perspective. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong because there isn't a right or wrong there. From my personal perspective, I'd rather if the person suits the criteria of a job, the position, whatever it is, I'd rather work with them and grow with them because every time we change, new training, new personalities, new cultures, new bad habits, new expectations, new motivations, and it's a lot to deal with.
Yep.
I've seen in some other businesses that it's hard to get traction because
Mm.
we're starting from square one.
Yep.
And it might feel great at the time, think, oh, you know what, I'll get rid of this person, I'll get someone else, it'll be better.
Mm.
And then better comes along, it's, oh, hang on a minute. Maybe I should have tried harder with that person and grown with them. And look, you live and learn. And I believe it's mainly from putting in the time and the effort to train someone because in the world that we live in, which is all instant, I want this today. I want to be a millionaire tomorrow. I want to have $1 billion business next week. It's very unrealistic. Everything takes time, consistency, effort,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's, I, I think it'd be a lot better. Uh, Training these people takes time, effort, and money because you basically have to do everything twice for a certain amount of time. And some people take twice the amount of time it takes, which is okay. Everybody learns at a different pace. It's that effort and consistency to keep putting into each other because they need to trust me and I need to trust them. And that's where the journey takes us.
Yeah.
We cut it short along the way or get impatient or cut it off, then you have to start that again. And it's for myself personally, that's tiring.
Yeah.
It's not easy. That's a lot of, amongst everything else that you need to do as a business owner, to think about the overall trajectory of a business, it's hard. And also when you have other people training other people,
Hmm.
that's another one.
Yeah.
And I'm very particular. I have very detailed SOPs to take out all the gray areas. When it comes to SOPs, I'll revert back to black and white
Yep.
because I'd like to have no phone calls and nobody making up their own rules or how something should be done. Everything's detailed, everything is outlined, there's diagrams, there's colored pictures, there's FAQs.
All the things so that people
Yes.
can get the answers that they need. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the very bottom of a well of the ocean, center of the earth, there's contact Lewis.
Yeah. Go through all of this first. And
Yes.
if you haven't gone to chapter 99 of this SOP, don't talk to me yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The amount of times you have clarifying questions, I'm just going to call it clarifying questions here to be,
Yeah.
is about something that's very clear to begin with.
Yeah.
Look, it's better be safe than sorry.
Mm.
In saying that, I'd rather have the self-teaching moment there where this is there
Yeah.
and go from there. Obviously, when you start, you're there or I'm there. I can teach someone, guide someone, and go through everything with them. And then there comes to a point where I've learned that from myself. Maybe that's correct or not. Maybe that needs improvement. Where it's that's how I used to learn. I used to ask to be taught and however much time that takes, we do
Yeah.
that. And then I'd politely ask, leave me alone. I'll work it out.
Let me sort it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll do my own way because again, with finding we all want the same result, then I'd find my own way of doing it. As long as the principle was done, which is not to kill anyone and to make sure the job's completed, which is the
Yeah.
main things, working in construction and different industries, especially driving trucks. Once I've worked that out, then I'd work my own way. So that's how I've always taught. I've never been because because I've trained so many people, countless people. I've trained a ridiculous amount of people over my time over my working life, my working career, where I learned very early on that if someone's taught something within a box, that's the only way they will do that task. If it's slightly different, you'll get a
Yeah.
phone call. If
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
different color, you'll get a phone call. If it's a different size, you'll get a phone call. So very early on, I learned to teach a principle. I only teach principle. And the principle can be applied to anything, any circumstance, any property, could be units, could be a home, could be. a granny flat, whatever it may be. Because I noticed very quickly that most people and the way they are taught is very rigid.
Mm.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Where the way I teach is very open. And I always mention this can be done for this or this. And I point out the principle, I identify it, make sure it's understood, and then move on to the next step.
Yeah.
I love training actually.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. So what's the dream? What are you working towards with all of this?
The dream. What I'm working towards a annual turnover of 100 million plus. And it's not as hard as it sounds. It sounds like a lot. I used to think it sounded like a lot.
Yep.
It doesn't, I think it's very achievable and I don't think it doesn't scare me as much anymore. I think it should actually be bigger and it probably will be bigger.
You've got a plus in there for a reason, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just things that need to be done along the way. And working backwards from that figure, which is, it's not I don't take that figure for granted. It's something very significant. And I'm going to be very grateful once I get there with all the support and learnings and people that I've had along the way to help me and still have along the way now to help me. I'd say this is probably the biggest thing for me. The biggest thing for me to get to 100 million plus annually is to have the right people and support around. I used to be in a thought process of I could do everything myself and I'll do it myself.
Yep.
Reality is doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I need help along the way. I need good people along the way, and I need to stay true to myself along the way, to be congruent with who I am, to be authentic, and not change for the worst. But there will be signs once I get there. I'm not.
I was going to say, what have you got planned? I want to know what this reward is going to be that you give yourself when you hit
But
that 100 million turnover.
look, I'm a very private person. I don't like to. I'm not better than anyone. I'm just me. And anything is it. There will be signs.
Yeah.
If
I'll
you
be
know
looking for the signs,
me,
Lewis.
you know me, you see signs. There
Right.
will be signs. And so working backwards from there is quite simple if you break it down to bite-sized chunks. And I actually had a conversation with a young lady in the shopping center a month ago, I think. No, 2 weeks ago. Very bad with time. And she was trying to sell me, she wasn't trying, she was selling me a charity voucher to help abandoned kids.
Yep.
And she walked straight up to me. Hi, sir, how are you? And went on to tell me about the charity. And I said, no problems. I can give you $50 because the $50 gave you, I think, 20 entries to win a holiday. The holiday didn't really attract me.
Yeah.
I'll contribute $50 to charity. And then she tried to upsell me. And she said, oh, I've got a quota. I'm tired. I've been fasting. I said, oh, I've also been fasting. And she wanted to say my quota was 1,000 and she's at 720, 750. Help her out, help the kids out, and all these things. And I said, look, I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm all for helping if I can. 50 is all you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And then she asked me because I was dressed in my work clothes with AML Glass and everything, a shirt. And she said, oh, is this your business or do you work for this company? I said, it's my own business. And she looked at me, started smiling, and said, "Oh, okay, so you can definitely go to this tier package 250." And I said to her, one of the things in business is you have to be disciplined. When you budget for something, you have to stick to that budget. Otherwise, it can go down a slippery slide real quick.
Yeah.
Said, your budget was nothing. I allocated 50 to it, and that's all you're getting. So I gave her 50, and the machine wasn't working. She was kept chatting, and she asked me, she said, "Do you have any advice for me?" And I said, "Look, what advice would you like? If I can help, I'll do my best." And she asked me to describe success. What is success? That stumped me a little bit because, first of all, to give advice about success and then just to reflect quickly on the spot, what does
Yeah.
success actually mean to me? Because success, in a broadly speaking term, I believe is most people thinking lots of money, big house, car, wife, kids, private jet, and so forth. I don't think that's success. I think success is subjective and then it's individual. And she was studying welfare,
Okay.
so providing healthcare for low advantage kids
Yeah.
at uni. And I said to her, I don't agree with how most people perceive success, which is chasing materialistic things, cars, watches, diamonds, necklace, gold, da da da, so forth. Success for me could be numerous things. You don't have to be a millionaire to be successful. You don't have to be poor to be successful. I said, for example, you're working in uni, you're studying in uni about how to find an efficient way to be able to help people with lower means than everyone else to be able to get healthcare. You could be successful in that space, as in be the next Tony Robbins in terms of healthcare and do lectures all around the world to teach people how to do that, or governments or organizations. Or you could be locally the person that's highly sought after for local schools, communities. It just depends what you want.
Yeah.
And for me, coming from my country and the background I come from, if I look at myself now as a young child, I'm very successful in that broad term.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not perfect. I get caught up sometimes in this tit for tat world, how to get more things. And it's
Yeah.
realistically, I think what I want to use my vehicle for, which is my business, is yes, to provide for myself and my family
Mhm.
and to be able to have a lifestyle that's successful determined by what I think it is, and mainly to being able to give back to the community. And I think, which is a topic that's come up a few times in my circle recently, is charity has become, my perspective here, has become very transactional. It's not in a bad way.
It
I'm
can
talking
be.
where I'm going to give charity, I'll tap, there's $100, $50, $5, whatever it is, online, and then some people in the background do things, which is great. Not saying it's bad. I personally feel that I'd like to take a physical approach to it, a more present approach. We don't all have the way Islam says it, to speak from my faith, is we should always look at people that have less than us because
Mhm.
then you're grateful, right? Whereas if I always look to someone who has more, it's never ending. Oh, they've got a car, I gotta get this car. And then they've got a better car, I'll get a better car. They've got a better wife, I'm gonna get a better wife. Yeah. You end up on the concert and you're hiding from everyone. Anyway, yeah, for myself personally, which I used to do, and when I said charity, I used to do some charity and participate into helping the homeless or less fortunate. And I did the SES for a long time, and it's a nice. it was a nice thing for me. And why I say that is I believe that having everything through screen and pictures, it becomes desensitized
Yeah.
because I see it so many times. Now, if you look at someone homeless in the street, you've seen one 1,000 times on Facebook. So when you see one in real life, you're like, oh, you keep walking.
Yeah.
And if I actually take a step back and actually contribute in some way, whether it's going out one night, a month, a quarter, whatever it is, give some food out, you actually see the people and for myself, it brings me back to earth because you know what, I'm very fortunate for what I do have, even though I have big dreams and aspirations to get to, and hopefully when that happens, it'll become another vehicle to be able to help people.
That's the thing, isn't it? The ways that we can, when we generate success. So if success equals a part of success being financial success, the money that we have access to, money is a magnifier. If it means that we want to do good with the world, if we want to support charities, when you have an additional access to money, you've got additional capacity to help those charities. Because yes, the face-to-face actively doing what you can do as a human being to help serve a meal to another human being or whatever it is that you choose to do, it puts a really beautiful energy into that charity. And there's also a limit to how much you can do as a single human being. Whereas when you have the magnifying effect of money, you
Mm.
can do that for this human being and you can also help so many others. So yeah, I love that. It's
Absolutely.
yeah,
And it's also connection, right? I've built myself and my business based on connection. I'm very big with building relationships and building lasting relationships. That's always been my goal. So my intention when I go in a meeting, I would like to get the job
yeah,
and the contract. In saying that, my approach is is always been to get to know the person,
mm,
get to know their pain points, get to know what the experience been like, and what they'd like. Actually listen to them. What do they want? I've been present in some meetings where there'd been other companies trying to win the same contract, and the way that they approach some of the clients is, this is what we've got. Yep, we can do for this mission. Yep, we can do this, and that's you happy with this? And then there's the clients just sitting there thinking, oh, what's going on? What do you
yeah,
mean? No, that's not what I want. And when you actually listen to, right, you've got developers, they want to create something lasting, something that's going to be a landmark for people to come to recognize. Builders, they want to do the best build possible and most cost effective way as well. And clients, whether it's renovation or new, or it could be a new build, their first build, and they've been able to do their dream home. So they appreciate being able to hear their ideas, going back to working together instead of, oh, we can't do that. It's just too complicated or whatever it is. Okay, what can we do to
mm,
find a middle ground to make it work?
yeah,
It could be investors, if first property, they want something cost effective, long lasting and durable and so forth. And that's where your experience comes from. But rather than being the rigid, we've got ABC, choose one, that's what you get, see you later.
yeah.
It's not a nice experience. It's like having a car salesman experience. It's, oh yeah, we've got this car. I'll give you a good deal, good interest rate. Yep, they're coming. You're going to sign today. If you sign today, give me 500. It's, hang on a minute. Just take a step back. Actually, I've got 4 kids and you're selling me a Lamborghini. It's not going to work.
No. But that it worked for the salesman. He gets a lovely commission out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
He does get a lovely commission.
Yes.
Actually, good customer service is also very important. And vivid memory I I have from that is there was myself and 2 other people. We were all in the market to buy brand new vans. I went to a dealership. As I walked in, he told me he was busy, he's going to lunch. And that van was Forgot what it was at the time, but it was a reasonable price van. So I left to another dealership and we ended up buying three vans from there. That was $15,000 more expensive per unit.
Yep.
So
It's an
it,
expensive lunch that the bloke didn't even know he was taking.
absolutely. And he missed out big time. He had to feed himself. Yeah, customer service is very important to be able to also be able to take feedback.
Mm,
That's also as hard as it can be at times, being able to say, okay, this is how it happened,
yep.
and that can't be changed because that's a customer experience. What we can do is change, improve things internally to be able to have that not repeat itself.
Feedback becomes not nice if we make it that way because
That's right.
it's if anything is what we make is what we make it within our heads,
Yeah,
unless it's certainly that's assuming that it's verbal feedback.
that's right.
We're working on the assumption that we're not coming to fisticuffs here because I
Yeah.
don't know when that's ever nice. Um, all good. One
No,
last question before we wrap it up for the day.
yes.
What's in one sentence, what's the biggest tip that you want people to take away from the things that you've learned?
The biggest tip that I've learned that I believe will be important for people to take from is there's no substitution for hard work. There's no magic pill. There's no Monjero, Fungero. It just doesn't exist.
Mhm.
It's consistency and it's executing and it's feedback, adjustments, and do again. And the one thing that I usually mention when we talk about consistency and hard work is I always see these, not always, I often see these videos on Facebook about the two stick figure men digging for diamonds.
Ah, yes.
And then one stops, and then the other one goes back tomorrow and gets the biggest diamond, and the other
Mhm.
guy left a whole bunch in the soil. And that's what it is. You just have to look at the patterns, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what business you're in, doesn't matter what you're doing or who you are, what you do, what you think of yourself, or what people think of you. If you can consistently do the same thing and improve just 1% every day, every week, every month, eventually, if compounding effect, it's it's going to happen.
Yeah,
So
love that.
there's no substitution for hard work. I wish there was. There isn't.
I think there's probably a few people who are in that same boat as wishing that there was, but I 100% hear what you're saying. So thank you so much, Lewis. I really have enjoyed our conversation today. I appreciate you giving so generously of your time and your experiences. But for now, I want to say thank you and it's bye from me.
Thank you so much, and I'm very honored that you've had me on, and likewise.
You're very welcome. Talk to you again soon.
See ya.